This video is part of our online bread baking course. I hope the sound is good. I'm not too close to the microphone. Anyway, here I have dough that has been resting without the salt. That's called autolyse, and it's very good for the dough, and it reduces the time you're going to spend kneading, so that's very convenient. I'm adding the salt now, and this is pink Himalayan salt, but you don't need to use that. You need to use fine salt. That's important, and the best you can find because it's good for you. So I add it all at once, and then I mix it really well because I want it to stick to the dough. You don't do that, then when you get the dough out of the bowl, you run the risk of it going all over the place. So I recommend you mix it well. And I'm using a dough scraper, and I use one of the hard ones. There's like sort of softy scrapers, and then there are harder ones. I prefer the hard one for these, and I prefer the small ones. The big ones are really for bakers. For home bakers, the small ones make way more sense, but they are a bit harder to find. So there I mix it a bit better, and soon I'll be taking it out.
Es a veces fácil equivocarse, sacarla a la mesa y sale volando la sal. Y bueno, pues la recoges de la manera que mejor puedas, pero no cuesta nada dar aquí unas vueltecillas más y asegurarnos de que se ha pegado bien la sal a la masa. ¿Vale? Y ahora ya la voy a volcar sobre la encimera.
Okay, so now I'm going to take it out on the table. And as you can see, there is no flour on my table. And I think this is very, very important, because often we're told to add flour until the dough doesn't stick to our hands, and this is wrong. And there should be no flour, and the dough is going to stick, and that's okay. No need to worry about that. We will be offering this online course in English in the autumn 2012. You can check our web. You have the address right there on the screen on the bottom right corner. You can visit and see what we're doing. Here I'm telling you to use the curved bit of the dough scraper when you use your dough scraper on the bowl, not the flat bit or the straight bit. So now we're going to start kneading. This type of kneading is a bit hard at first, but then it's brilliant. You need to be a little bit patient with it. I recommend that you put your laptop and watch this on your kitchen. Put the laptop on the counter and then just knead at the same time. First watch it and then do it. That way you can absorb it a bit more. So there are my hands. I'm going to use the tip of my fingers. I first divide mentally the dough in two, and I'm going to pick the left side, and I put the tips of the fingers first, and then you see the fat finger kind of holds on without squeezing, just holding on. I take it up, it sticks to the table, it doesn't matter, and then I stretch it towards me, but see how I stretch it on the air. I don't stretch it on the table because it would stick all over, and then I fold it in two. And then once again I get the tips in. I pick quite a bit of dough, but the left side. Get those fat fingers involved in there, and then pick it up and let it fall and stretch it towards me on the air, and then fold it in two, and one time after another. So now I do it a bit quicker so you can see how it flows. See how I pick it up? I pick quite a bit up, but I don't squeeze it. This is important because if you squeeze it, then it's going to stick to your hands like crazy. And obviously, once you get used to it and you do it a bit quicker, it sticks less. Yeah, there I'm telling you to clean the table every once in a while, otherwise it dries up, particularly here in Madrid, which is where I recorded this video. It's very dry, and if you don't clean the table all the time, it just just dries up immediately, so you have to clean your table, and to do that you use the straight bit of the dough scraper. You see that when I pick up the dough, I don't pick it up straight, I pick it up on the side like that with my hands, you know, not straight. And then that's it, the same thing all over again. It's very important to stretch the dough properly. Sometimes students forget to do that, particularly when they get comfy. And you need to stretch it. Okay, now I'm telling you about the problems that students generally have. One is they pick it up like that instead of like that. So your hands need to be perpendicular to your body, okay? And that works better because you're turning it around. It's actually better even for the gluten. So make sure you do it like that. So there, first problem. You might forget you have to pick it up on the side. And then the other one is that you pick it up with your fingers like that. And instead of putting the fingertips in first, you kind of, you see, that's how you should do it. It sticks way less. And also you pick a bigger quantity of the dough. But what I'm showing you there is that some people also forget to get their fat fingers involved in the whole process, and you need to get them involved. So if you see, when I pick it up with the tip of my fingers first, coming in first, like if they were, you know, to those construction things that pick up heavier stuff, and then I get the fat fingers involved. I stretch it, and then when I fold it into the fat fingers, no longer involved, okay? And there I'm telling you that it is very important to stretch it on the air and not on the table, because if you stretch it on the table, it sticks. So you'll see that I stretch it on the air. I mean, basically I stretch it up. Okay, here I'm telling you that once you get, you know, really happy with your kneading technique, the next thing you might forget to do suddenly is to properly fold the dough in two, and you need to do that. So some people do what I'm going to do now. They stretch it and then they go directly to, oh, I didn't do it there, but they go directly to the other step, to picking it up. You need to fold it in front of you in two, and then you pick it up. Make sure you fold it in two properly. And that's another thing. The dough is going to stick, and you shouldn't try to, you know, to get away from it. You should just accept that it sticks. Otherwise, you break the flow of the movement. So if it sticks, and you just keep going. With the dough stick to your fingers, it's okay. And then the quicker you do it, and the better kneaded the dough is, the less it's going to stick. And now I'm telling you that if you don't want the dough to stick a lot to you, you need to touch it very little. This seems very obvious, but it isn't. I mean, some people love to touch the dough, and if you touch it a lot, it's going to stick. And we need to have a very light touch of the dough. This is very important in general in everything related to baking. So, you know, if you hold it like that, like I'm just doing there, you see how it sticks everywhere. It's horrible. So the touch needs to be light. So the students often tell me, oh, but dough doesn't stick to your hands, and you know, this is because I touch it very lightly, and when they start touching it very lightly, the same thing happens to them. And look how little I touch it, really. It depends how you are. Also, it depends if you have very warm hands. Warm hands make the dough stick more. So if you do have warm hands, guys tend to have warmer hands, your touch needs to be even lighter. And then you see how I kind of throw it out there. That's also a good way to get it off your hands, but try this when you have some experience. So Just imagine like your dough almost burns, and hence you touch it lightly, because otherwise your fingers are going to burn. And don't squeeze it. That's another thing. We shouldn't squeeze it, because then it also sticks much more, and it's not good for it. I'm just telling you to do the kneading with the video on at first, because you won't remember everything. And now I'm going to tell you how you're meant to find out when your dough is ready. This type of kneading, by the way, it's called French kneading, and Richard Bertinet has made it very popular. He's got an excellent book and video about it that I'm sure you can find on the net very easily. So the first test you can do to find out if your dough is ready is called baby's bottom. And it's basically a very similar movement to the regular kneading, French style, but way softer and more delicate. So I'm going to do it now. It's everything very delicate. So you pick it up carefully, you let it drop, you don't, slap it, you let it drop, and you fold it in two without stretching it. Pick it up again, fold it in two without stretching it. And you do this over and over again until you create tension at the top, and then you can see the very soft white dough.
Una mozzarella. Y eso es lo que buscamos, que esté liso. De lo contrario estaría lleno de veñitas y todo arrugado y todo feo. Estaría más estilo.
Otherwise, instead of soft, you would see kind of veins almost. It would be very almost grainy. Not really grainy, but you would see lines, and you wouldn't get the kind of softness or thinness. That's what you're looking for. That kind of tells you that your dough is being kneaded properly. I'm just going over again, showing it to you again. So I like repetition, as you can see. But you get more of a close-up here, so it's actually helpful. So aside from, the baby's bottom test, you can do the Windowpane test, which you have probably read about. This is a test that drives people a bit crazy because it's hard to get it done, and you often don't do it right and think your dough is not ready when your dough is actually ready. So it is important to learn to do it properly, and patience is fundamental to do this well, because if you rush and you try to make a very big window, it's going to break, and it's not going to go as thin as it should. There is not ready yet. I don't know if you can see, but it's not completely transparent, and it's got like little veins in it. It wasn't a very long shot, but it wasn't ready. I mean, aside from breaking a bit early, it just wasn't clear enough. And it is important that you do it very slowly, and making only a very small bit of it thinner and thinner, rather than trying to make a huge window, which is going to break immediately. I'm telling you here that you get tears in the dough. Tears. Hope you can understand me with my accent. It's like break. It breaks a little bit. You see. Well, tears, but not tears as in crying, but tears, the other tears. And when that happens, at this stage, it's perfectly fine. There's sort of, the gluten, there are unions of the molecules that are weaker than others, and you want those breaking, because apparently they then will get back together in a stronger way, so it's actually good for the dough. And then I'm telling you how to get the dough sticking to the table, and you see that that movement of my wrists. Yep. There, you see it. Be careful, because it can go to your head, the dough, if you do it too much. But rather than just slamming it against the table, which requires a lot of effort, you just move your wrist like that. Oh, there's the Windowpane Test again. I think this one is a bit better. You see it a bit more clear, and it's not breaking as much. I still would like it a bit thinner than that even, but anyway, that's good enough. So there I am, very proud of my dough, as you will be. And I'm just preparing the bowl where I'm going to put it in. I like to put a bit of olive oil, Spanish olive oil. And then I take the dough and I put the pretty side down first, telling you how to pick it up instead of picking up, you know, in those ways and destroying the nice bit. I just pick it up carefully and put the pretty side down, and then I will turn it around one time and then again. I think this is about it. Okay, that's it. We're done. I hope it was useful. You can visit our web, you have it there on the right corner, the bottom, and have a lot of fun making bread.